Hey guys, RW here. It's the dead of winter. It's towards the middle of February. It's when it really starts getting cold here in Virginia. I know it's probably not that cold compared to what you guys are used to up north, but for woodworking and stuff like that, it's still a challenge. Anyway, let me show you what I'm doing today. I made a pair of grips, and they came out nice. Finished them up, got them to fit really tight to the frame, everything. But my plan is to make 2 pairs of grips and then send on the one that's the best to my client. So even though I think, what is it now? What is it down in the shop today? We are down to about 36 degrees, 36, 37 degrees in the shop. So I'm all bundled up, and anyway, just to kind of show you guys and my client some of the work that goes into it. But it really starts with getting it to fit the frame, pretty much, and then you can always dial it in right at the end. But the rest of it, it's sort of like understanding how hands and fingers and stuff work when you're shooting. And since I've been shooting a really long time, since I was a little kid, I started shooting pistols, air pistols and stuff, and then to guns when I was old enough to get guns, right? And so I just enjoy shooting, and having a good grip and a good ergonomic for whatever it is you're trying to do is real important. You know, with target grips, deep contour target grips, you're single arm shooting. You're not doing support hand shooting. You're not holding it with 2 hands usually. You're extending your arm out, and this puts your hand in a completely different position, I think, than like a combat type shooting. Your thumb is pretty much up and relaxed, and just point, and your hand is kind of like this. And then you just want to have you don't really want to, it's like if you were to shake somebody's hand. And then you just kind of have your hand like this, and you really don't want your trigger finger to be, you know, like this, or up or down. You just want everything to line you up so that your hand can be as comfortable as possible, so that you can eliminate as much muscle activity as possible, so that it's like having a handshake. So that's really what these grips are like. They're like a little wood handshake, so that you can just hold your hand out without it shaking. Maybe it should be called a handshake eliminator. But that's the plan. Yeah. To relieve for the safety, have to have a grip screw, a couple registration holes for these little pins. Once I've accomplished this, this is pretty simple. You can just run it through the table saw at exactly the right settings, and you get what you need. Pretty much. It's not 100%. I don't worry about it after that. I'll address that at the end. Then I need to remove stock. The most efficient way to remove stock is to drill it. I got to know exactly where to remove stock, and the most efficient way to mark it, an accurate way to mark it, is to use a scratch-all combination square. So I may do some pencil marks and stuff, but the actual marks for the drill tip are always made with a scratch-all for maximum precision. And I just come over here and I hog it out, you know. And this is the part where, you know, it's sort of, oh, did I get it right? If I didn't, too bad, because that's what you get. And I drill it both sides. I go all the way through it. It's a brand new Forstner bit, so it's really nice and sharp, doesn't burn the wood. I'm not making the drill press work too hard to do this, to be honest with you. And you've got to go through both sides. Clear the chips about that far through. About halfway down with the drill at this point. See those chips right there. You can see it's nice and perpendicular, so my drill press, my clamp, everything's set up pretty good, because if it wasn't, I wouldn't have a perfectly parallel channel like that. And let's get as far down as the drill bit will let me to go. At that point, that's when I flip it over. But before I bother to do that, because I want to have good flow in my process, I'll drill the other top hole. And then I'll flip it over and I'll drill both the bottom holes. Then I come over to the bandsaw and I remove stock. And this is the stock I removed from the last piece. So you can see it's a pretty substantial amount of wood I'm removing. And by the time the grips are actually done, you can see light through them. So there's a lot of stock removal. And to facilitate that, make it faster, I've got a spindle sander, and I use various sizes of spindles. I also have this guy, which I don't use that much. I might use this to face something. I might use this to just round a little part of a profile that's more flat than curvy. And then once I'm done with the machine part of it, I come over and I do a lot of sanding by hand. I start off at 120, and then I move on up to 220. And by the time I'm done, it's almost ready for finish. And at that point, I can mount them to the gun, and I can work on dialing in the wood to metal fit by very carefully just sanding as I need to on a perfectly flat sanding block, so that I'm dropping this down if I need to, or dropping this area down, or whatever needs to be adjusted. Take this down or take this down until it all fits really, really nice. I just want to go through real quick my marking up process before I cut. Obviously now this is the left-hand side of the grip. For a right-handed side, this is where you want your thumb ramp. So I've got my hole for my thumb ramp, for my thumb to go in, right? And then all of this, rest of this is just waste. So what I've done is I've taken my straight edge and I've marked from here to here. So I'm going to go through the table saw like this and cut this off. I'm going to cut this off, cut this off. Once I've got all that cut away, then I'm going to flip it this way and I'm going to cut all this off and all of this off. Then I've got basically a big block that I can start working with. And I do a lot of sanding and shaping and stuff before I do this cut, because I'm not too worried about that cut. This material is relatively thin up here. I can actually take that down with a sander, so I don't have to run it through the bandsaw again. On the trigger side, obviously got my channel for my finger, for my little finger. Now I need some meat for my palm. Okay, so here's the side I'll actually be cutting, okay, because I like to cut the widest part on the bottom. And I'm going to be taking out all this material like that, and then obviously again come through, take all that out, and then at the very end I will do this and I will do this. So cold down here, the camera battery doesn't last any time at all. Sorry if that cut off in the middle of anything, but it probably wasn't that interesting. Anyway, I just wanted to show you real quick the purpose of that, okay, is so that when, like for whatever size hand I'm making this for, so let's say it's for my size hand in this case, because it's my customer has my size hand. I want to be able to put my hand into the grip and just open my fingers and be able to lift the grip. And that tells me I've got just the right size top and bottom. Now this is going to get cut away and stuff. This is going to get beveled. This is going to get beveled. And the safest way to do this is with the sander. You can get jiggy with the bandsaw and do some raking and do some things like this, but I'll tell you what, you screw up one time and you're either hurt or you've destroyed your workpiece. So why not just come on over to the sander. So here's the pieces basically for the pistol, roughed out, ready for some finer stock removal, which I'll be doing starting with 80 grit on the spindle sander. Loud guys, but just wanted to show you the sort of shaping process. Not all of it, just some of it. Even though it's 38 degrees down here, I am sweating from all this sanding. Let me show you the results. Okay, let me get it down here where it's really well lit and you can see. Let me zoom in just a little bit. There you go. Let me get some light on it. So this is after it's been hand sanded to 120. So the idea is to blend all the profiles regularize everything, get everything regular, you know, all the thicknesses, and just blend everything, and especially to take out any of the cross grain marks from the coarse paper on the sanding sleeve. And I think you could start to see what I've got here. It's a really nice looking pair of grips. This is the pair that I'm going to send the client. These came out looking a lot more interesting, and as you can see, just a lovely profile. Very proud of this profile that I've developed. I think it works great and it looks great. You know, something he can enjoy for a long time. Huh? There you have it. See how the fingers just fall exactly where the little grooves are. Everything is just perfect. Perfect size for my hand. Really narrow in the thumb lap area. So, that's it.